How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you.
My understanding is the Cardinals asked permission to talk to Thomas Brown. I was wondering what he's provided, what he's done for you.
Yeah, we'll focus. I want the best for every single coach that's here. I do. And we'll focus on that whenever they can talk to our coaches. We'll approach that. I'm excited for every one of them that could get an opportunity. I'll help them however I can. But our focus is obviously on the Chargers this week and a huge task against a really good football team.
Other than the obvious physical tools, what does Derwin James bring to the table to be so good?
I think he's got really good instincts. When he blitzes, whether to go inside or go outside, I think he, there's a passion. There's a love for football. There's a play demeanor. He's a very good tackler. He can cover. He matches up. He has versatility to play down or close to the line of scrimmage. He can play, in the deeper part of the field. And again, I just having the luxury to coach a Pro Bowl. He was on that team and just an unbelievable person. I remember his mom was getting married and he's like, coach, and he communicated, he reached out like, hey, I'm going to miss it down. I was like, buddy, I don't think there's any rules to the Pro Bowl. And so just remembering that about him, I always have a lot of respect for him. Obviously the player he is, but the person.
Mike, it seems like Drake has a lot of answers to defensive tests this year. What is it about you and Josh, the whole staff, being sort of proactive about making sure he's ready when he sees something maybe that...
There's a lot of growth there. I think a lot of growth as we worked from the off season through training camp and joint practices versus the Commanders and the Vikings and against our defense, and then working through the regular season. Just trying to give him the best chance and to put us in the right situation. And I think he's learned from some of those instances where maybe he could have gone to something else. And I think he's learned from that. So that's been really good to see. And that's, credit to Josh, obviously, and Ashton.
What's the Chargers' playing style? You've talked a lot about your own. What have you kind of learned about them and what they do well?
Big physical football team. They don't really beat themselves. They statistically excellent in every category across the front. Defensively, they don't just stop the run well or they don't give up, but they're good on third down. They're good on short yardage. Excellent in the red zone. I think it's, you look at a play that broke against the Texans. It was a screen to the left, and every single guy on defense is chasing the ball, and Khalil Mack wins the race and hammers the football out and causes a fumble. So those are the things that I can appreciate, with a defense or for a team. And this is certainly a team that's going to play that way.
How much has Morgan Moses meant to your team in the slot?
Great veteran presence. I think that he's played well. It hasn't just been a presence. He's protected the quarterback and he's been out there. And we got some guys sick today. Morgan will be in one of that group of guys that are sick. So he won't be getting the physical reps. But just I think everything that we've wanted him to be and needed him to be, as far as changing over some personnel and adding him. So it's been fun to watch that group gel.
Mike, who else is sick?
Bradbury, Anthony Jennings, Verdarian Lowe.
Mike, how much do you rely on team identity as you get into the playoffs, but what you've been able to build since really day one here?
Well, we've said this numerous times. You can't just play hard and hope to win, run like this with the football and hope that you're going to be able to break tackles or gain a bunch of yards. So you need production, you need execution. So I think that it helps. It's critical. And being able to keep our composure, whatever happens in a football game, making sure that we execute in critical situations. So again, I think that the identity is important, but execution and guys making plays and us, all sticking together, is going to mean the most.
Mike,
Chargers are second in the league in time of possession. What do they do well that allows them to hold on to the ball? And in a playoff situation, how dangerous is a team that holds on to the ball for a long time?
Well, they certainly, either a 1 or 2 based on whatever you look at. They do a nice job. They don't mind it being in 3rd and 3 and run it to stay on track, and because they're really good on 3rd down. A quarterback that can scramble for a 1st down. They can run it. They can multiple different route concepts in those down and distances. And so it just probably the more that they possess it, obviously, the less that we get it. But I also think it's a mentality where they're trying to wear you down and win the game in the 4th quarter and put the 5-minute put their 5-minute offense out there and run it to win it.
Mike, last time when we had a playoff game here, you were the visiting team's head coach. Can you describe this place as a Viper stand? I know it's been a couple of years, but what did that term mean to you back then? And what does it take to rebuild that kind of reputation with your current team?
Well, it just got to be a tough place to play in January. If we're able to get there in January like we are, we have to create an environment that makes it difficult to play. Whatever the record was back, when I was looking at the stats in 2019, 21-3 or whatever it was in January, I'm going to be off by a couple games because it's a few years ago. But that, we were talking about, what we would have to do to come in and win. And we need to create a hard environment. We need to play well, and let our crowd feed off of us and let us feed off of them.
Mike, when you have players
For you
like
personally,
Milton and Harold Landry, who comes back this week dealing with injuries, do you have a sense of where you might be from a pass rush standpoint midweek, or do you have to find out first quarter kind of once the game gets going?
On a pass rush?
Yeah, how much rush you might have with just your typical 4?
Nah, man, I don't think that's ever something that you can tell in practice. You gotta go out there and win in live action, and not only win, you have to be able to, get the guy on the ground. Justin's just great play strength, toughness, can avoid and scramble for a lot of yards and can stiff arm you. And, so again, I think that all have to be determined Sunday night.
Montre Stevenson, he was named AFC Offensive Player of the Week, which was actually the first time he's gotten this award in his career. What was it like to see him get that recognition for his performance?
Always excited for our players, and sound like a broken record, but I think he continued to do the things that we needed him to do to help us win, and in turn was rewarded for it with touchdowns, with rushing yards, with big catch there, but also he protected the quarterback. So I'm excited and happy for him. Recognized him, and then we moved on.
Mike, it's the first game this season where it's win or go home. Do you sense a heightened sense of urgency around this?
We need to embrace the preparation, and I want them to continue to enjoy, the execution and everything that goes on with us. I'm excited. I'm excited for these guys to prepare. I'm excited to coach them. So, I hope that we're locked in every week, and imagine we'll get everything we can out of them.
For you personally, I know you just kind of alluded to it, just to be in this position, bringing playoff football back to Foxborough here.
We don't want it. Yeah, I'm happy, I'm excited, but also we're not here just to, get here. We have to, be able to host games and compete for championships. So there's not going to be any consolation prize for anybody. We understand what we have to do.
your previous matchups with Greg Roman, what have you noticed about how he operates? Does he kind of have a style that he adheres to, or is he?
Well, Greg's they're going to be physical, and they're going to marry the play action pass and off the run actions. They're going to look at things that have given you trouble in the past. They've got their core concepts, mixed personnel, use big people. And Lamar Jackson, so it's probably a little different with as much quarterback run. They have it. We'll have to be ready for it. I just don't know if it'll be as much as what he did with Lamar Jackson. But, there's a lot of carryover. There's also a lot of growth. And what he's done with mixing personnel, keeping you guessing, keeping you moving guys around, motioning to get guys at the point of attack.
We see a lot this year about Drake as a leader.
It's okay.
How have you seen him demand more from his teammates? And would this be the kind of week where you'd expect him to lead in that fashion?
I would hope that he would lead as our quarterback every single week. This is next week. It's an important week. I think just the command that he has in the huddle. At practice, you see, communication with guys off on the side when, maybe the defense is working. I see things during the game where, he's trying to get guys on the same page and, communicate to them and that relationship there. So I think he's continuing to work at it. And again, it's everybody's trying to become a little better leader.
Obviously, you guys had a lot of success this year. There's a lot of head coaching movement around the league. Do you look back and think of your year off from being a head coach as being beneficial?
Well, it was the only option I had, so I guess I didn't have a choice.
Mike, you talked offensively about X plays coming from 70%, guys making a play 30% scheme. Defensively, does that hold true? Because I know obviously LA's been really, really good at denying those X plays, and it seems a lot of it is structural, but where's that balance?
Well, I imagine that this was league wide when I just did like a quick, when you look through each week, some of those numbers may be off but I think sometimes schematically, I think the way you tackle goes into that a lot. The way you play the football down the field, split safety versus post safety. I think there's some things that go into it. I just was saying that it's not always going to just be, the best player making a play. Sometimes you're going to get schemed open. Sometimes we're going to have to go make a play, and it's a one-on-one matchup, and that's kind of how those things are created. Running backs, be like, that's a really cool run. It was untouched and everybody was blocked. Sometimes you got to make a guy miss and break a tackle.
You mentioned Herbert.
Don't take me too literal here. I apologize. I just try to say that it's a combination.
You mentioned Justin Herbert a couple of times. Just with his physical skills, how much of a challenge is he for defense?
A lot. He's got toughness, great arm talent, great athletic ability. He's under duress. And it doesn't really affect him. You don't see him get frustrated. A lot of respect for him as a person, obviously as a player, and he's lived up to everything that they thought he'd be as a franchise quarterback, and he's really just one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Seems like the packages where you have, those 6 offensive line packages have been a very big reason for the run game success recently. I'm curious, what led to the decision to maybe lean on those looks more, and also why has it been so successful for you guys?
I don't think any time that we blocked the, guys at the line of scrimmage and we blocked the support player, that we're able to run the football. So that's 6 linemen. If we need 7, I'll probably draw the line there. But however many guys we need to put out there that can move somebody off the line of scrimmage and block support, that's what I'm in favor of. Thanks, guys.